Hello everyone and welcome back to the marketing module. Today I wanted to break it up a bit and talk about batching separate than copywriting in your marketing formula because they're two different skills, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So the agenda for today is we are going to talk about first that business formula that I hinted at earlier. Remember, those vanity metrics are not something that we want to be actually checking. At this stage in your business, you don't want to be looking at that. You want to be actually checking in on what is bringing you results. If you don't have results yet, I'm going to give you my marketing formula, and you can use that in your business formula, the exact thing that I did, so that you can continue to just progress as you would. So that's going to be the first piece. The second one is going to be tracking. I want you to start tracking some metrics within your business so that you can amplify the things that are working and ditch the things that are not working. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to be actually learning about the aspects of writing copy. You saw on there copywriting. Copy is just the words that you're saying when you are writing a post. So it could be copy can be considered the words that you're using in your marketing, either written or verbal. So like this is technically, you're hearing right now my copy as well. Even though it's not necessarily for marketing, the examples that I gave were. And then I'm going to show you an example of my copy, and you can see the three chunks. So within this, I wanted to talk to you about making your business more predictable. I think one of the reasons why people avoid entrepreneurship altogether is it doesn't feel predictable. It feels like kind of like the wild, wild west, and it's like, okay, we don't really know. It's like, if I start this business, is it going to work out? Are people actually going to buy from me? What does a business look like? That's the biggest thing I want you to get from this. I did not know, even though I had multiple business coaches, really what a business structure would look like. And so that's what I want to give you, is like the structure of what it would look like for your business. And we're going to talk about two different pieces of your business. Within your business, there are going to be two different ways that your business will progress. There's going to be direct and indirect forms that are going to give you value within your business. First, we're going to talk about indirect. These are the things that nobody sees. These are the things, and just like the front end of your business, which we'll talk about like later, and the back end of your business, you have indirect and direct ways that you are growing your business. For me, one of the things that was the biggest indirect player when I was building my business was my environment and education. One of the things that I heavily invested in, and still do, like $87,000 this year, fun fact, I'm putting towards me investing in my education and my environment. A lot of times, again, most of us are just really passionate people who start these projects that become businesses, and we don't have formal training. I know I didn't, and it's totally fine if you don't either. I actually sometimes think it could be an asset for you to not have that experience or formal training. Now, within that means that is feeding your business with the coaching, for me, it was general coaching, business coaching. I did marketing masterminds, I did marketing coaching, I did certification, I did general coaching groups. And all of those things were really critical pieces of my business. Then I did a lot of self-coaching. Like I talked with you guys about, I think it's really great if you can self-coach. I think it is so helpful for you to learn how to regulate your nervous system and manage your mind. And I did 52 single space pages in December alone. This is in 2022. So these are the stats from 2022. And then I also, the writing, the copy that you're actually writing and the teaching that you're doing, I took a look at my documents that I used for my marketing calendar, and I did 67 pages of straight single space pages in 2022, 60 for warm and 70 for hot. So you're going to be putting a lot into your business that no one sees. you're going to be putting a lot of time in that no one sees. And you're also going to be putting a lot of money in that nobody sees necessarily a direct, like you won't see it because I sign up for a mastermind. I don't necessarily just get clients. And so this is all the time that goes into those other hours in your day when you're not necessarily seeing a direct feed to your business formula. The next thing you want to do is when you are creating a formula for your business, you want to have indirect ways that you are building your business as well. That means that you are interacting with people that are potential clients. We call those potential people leads. So it's like a lead of a person. Now, humans are humans. We want to respect them as humans, but it's just helpful to have a common term for all of us, almost like our vocabulary. And that's what I'm going to call a lead. So that means you're going to be interacting with people, you're going to be networking, and like either going to networking events in person, you might be talking with people on social media, having conversations and coffee dates. Those are all direct ways that you'll see reflected in your business. You'll also be doing some outreach. You're going to be meeting some new people. Maybe you'll be joining some Facebook group. Maybe you'll be getting some referrals that someone's like, oh, my friend is really interested, and you'll be talking with them. You're going to be doing some outreach on people you've never met. Like for me, I'm about to, where we are right now is at a co-working space in Raleigh that helps entrepreneurs, and I'm going to be going to an event in like 2 weeks here. So that's going to be something fun to add and feed to my business. The other thing is you're going to be doing consultations, or you're going to be doing presentations. So that's going to be a way that you can build your audience. Remember, that's one of my pillars. The reason why I think this is so important to do presentations is you are putting yourself as a person who is an expert in an area surrounded by people who want what you have to offer. It's a really good way to bring more people into your business. And so in 2022, I did presentations for 5 sororities. I did some things at NC State, Go Pack, my former university. I presented for a women's group and 2 coaching groups just within 2022. I also got a ton of referrals. So I had people who were referring, and when I'm thinking about referrals, that means that I did a really good job coaching them. So again, something that you are directly doing, something that you will see on the calendar. You'll see both of the things on the calendar, direct and indirect, but I'm just saying like the coaching calls were on the calendar. I also had an email list, and I sent a ton of emails, and I also posted a bunch, and then I also had a podcast. The podcast was from 2021, but still, I had a podcast. So when you're looking at, so the indirect ways, you're not going to see clients necessarily coming from. However, those direct ways, you are actually going to see people coming from it. So I want you to listen to these stats, and you can actually see these, like I'm going to show them to you. So by doing interactive networking, talking with people, and doing referrals within like the Facebook group, I think I got like 3 consults. Then when I did a webinar, I started to recognize when I was bringing consults. Sometimes I did it, all of 2021 I did webinars. I didn't get a single consult. And now pretty much every time I do a webinar, I get a consult. So it's something that I knew I wanted to build and add into my business and marketing formula. The other thing is I would do presentations. So I would also get clients and consults from those presentations that I did in front of those groups. I also had all of these people refer me, and I got clients from that. That was actually something that worked really well for me. The posting, which is the thing that we talked about yesterday, the thing that a lot of us obsess over. I posted 900 times. 900, so it's a reel and a post. That was actually 2 separate things that I counted. So I posted 900 times within 2022, and I got 10 consults from just cold posting and only 3 clients from that. Think about where you're spending your time, especially those of you that are side hustlers that have a full-time job currently. Where are you spending your time is really important. The next thing is I still have an email list. did 200 emails and I got 0 clients that signed up because they said that they saw an email that I really liked. I still send weekly emails. I'm still choosing to keep that as part of my marketing formula because I know that that is a clear way that I can get leads. But just thinking about, like, if you're like, oh my gosh, I have to get my business off the ground, what are the things that are going to feed your business the most? Look at the numbers. And then the podcast, 0 clients. So we want to increase intensity for the things that are actually working. Now, if you don't know your formula yet, like I mentioned, I know you are going to figure it out. But if you want to follow my lead, focus on the things that have helped my business the most. And I'm going to show you the things that I track. So, and again, if you're like, talking about a formula, it freaks me out, I have a reminder on here about the stages, because we're you're halfway through essentially like the things that we talked about. And so please, if you need help with this, if this overwhelms you, let's coach on it. So within that, we are going to talk about, I'm going to add, when we were talking about the formula for your marketing, when I was increasing the intensity for things, for me, I needed to increase talking to people. I needed to increase reaching out to people, because that was somewhere I got consults from. And I needed to increase, like, that was one of the biggest areas I got consults from, is referrals from current clients. And what I called that was word of mouth. So the things that you're going to be tracking are the consults that you do. For every consult that you do, you're going to see where they came from. Okay, I have a consult from her. I did it on this date, and I'm going to track it. You're going to track where they came from, and whatever you have on there that you spend the most time on, that's what you want to do. Okay, so with that being said, that the reason why I mentioned this is the majority of us, when we start our businesses, writing copy is not something that makes money right away. This is like something that I found to be like a multiple 6 and 7 figure business skill, is taking someone, and the reason why this is you're essentially just so good at writing to your ideal person and describing their problem and solution better than they can say it themselves. You're doing that so well that you're bringing in people that are completely cold and don't know you at all. Okay? It's a really, really great way to bring people in. But the way I like to think about your marketing when you're copywriting and just doing posts and things like that, it's like a billboard. How many times have you bought multiple $1,000 product from a billboard? Probably not as often as when you hear about it from word of mouth or things like that. So again, we're going to talk about copywriting, but there is no, it is just, I think at the beginning of your business in the first 6 figures, a lot of it is just there for practice so you can get experience and learn. Now, with that being said, the 3 steps to writing copy are having a headline, a body, and a call to action. So the headline is something that you want to do to bring people in. Some people call that the hook. You want to be like, oh, what is something that's intriguing that someone could hear, and they're like, ooh, I'm going to read more. So this could be a question, it could be a statistic, it could be something surprising. So something for like cold leads, something that I've done is like what I learned from making like 20K in 20 days. That's when I just did. So it's like, that could be something that like people are like, what? I would like to know more about this. For the warm leads, you're going to be maybe doing some like mini trainings of something that you teach, like something really, really small. And that could be like a how-to. How to be more like yourself so you can attract your ideal audience. Something like that. And then hot is like, here are blanks results from coaching. Something like that. Then for the body, what you want to do is you want to talk about your client, and you want to be like, okay, so this is a certain problem, and this is where your PSPR can come in handy really well. You can choose any piece of that and like mention and be like, here's the problem. When you do this, or like, do you see yourself doing this, or somebody has this, then you give like what you did to overcome the problem, why it's important to solve the problem, and then like, hey, like this is very helpful. And so use your pillars when you do this. That's why we did the work. You can literally just plug and chug, and I can walk you through that in our coaching calls. The next thing is the call to action, the last piece, where you are calling or compelling to action. And so you think about like you're bringing people in, and you can be like, for the cold leads, it doesn't have to be like this. It's just like, this could be a way you do it. Would be like, for the cold, like and follow for more. For warm, join the webinar, Facebook group, list, whatever. Sign up to get my free testimonial template. That's what's called a freebie. And then hot, sign up for a consult. And so for webinars, when I'm doing like a webinar or something like that, or a launch, if you have a group, again, I wouldn't, and we'll talk about that, I wouldn't suggest doing a group right away. I would suggest doing one-on-one, because you have less of an audience. So it makes sense that like you're gonna have less people to know, like, and trust you. You can charge a higher price point, get experience, and then have a proven protocol and process to take more people through. That's my suggestion for you. However, if you decide to launch, then I only have the only call to action I do is join the group, join the group, join the group. Or if you're doing a webinar, which I'm gonna highly recommend that everybody does, is join the webinar, join the webinar, join the webinar. So here is an example of my copy, and this is what I wrote out. So I said, you can read this, but you can see that the headline is the green one-liner, and it's like, instead of dousing my people in information, I had to break it down to digestible, teachable concepts. And then so I talked all about like how I used to teach a lot, and it was just too overwhelming, and then I just had to break it down, and it helped. And then I said, follow me, and I'll show you how I teach my concepts. And so like that's how you can see like the like follow, and this would be an example for a cold lead. So now when you're seeing all those words, I used to, and my process might change as we go on, and I'll update you on my processes, of course, without maybe necessarily updating these full videos. However, one of the things that I do now is I put all the big part that you see in yellow, I put that into a Canva graphic so people can slide through on what's called a carousel post. Carousel posts get more views, and it's also like a little bit more engaging way to read your content. You can include some visuals, you can include big bold words, underline things, and I found that like I go back, I like to use that more, and then I use 4 sentences for the carousel caption post, and then I use 2 sentences underneath the reel for the caption. So that is it. I just want to thank you guys again for the work you're doing in the world. You're doing an amazing job. We are now done with marketing, and we're going to move on to selling next.